Welcome back to What Arty Noobs for General Disturbance. This is a Panzer Beast 5. It's a Tier 4 German premium heavy tank. It's located on the south spawn of Steppes under the command of JeffXandra. Okay, well, game started and you're looking at the tank that derived from the B1, the French Char, which was captured by the Germans in, well, quite great numbers actually. Although they were very effective against German tanks, they tended to break down a lot because of course the engine wasn't up to much, and of course they kept running out of fuel because of course the engine was thirsty. So they did have problems, and the Germans, well, they actually modified it. They took out that big 75mm gun that was at the front of the B1 and instead fitted extra armor. Instead, it relied on its main gun, which you can see here. It's capable of 52 alpha, and with the premium, or with the standard shells, it will actually penetrate through 55mm of armor, and with the premium rounds, which he's using at the moment with great effect, it's actually capable of 90mm of pen. Okay, that M5 Stuart is firing his pop gun at us, and he is getting pens occasionally because he's going for the weak spots, or at least trying to. Okay, well, we angled well enough there that we bounced around from the T-34 1941. As you know, that guy's got a 76mm gun. The M5A1 Stuart, if I remember correctly, doesn't have anything that high a caliber. In fact, if I remember correctly, he's only got a... It's not a 57mm, is it? I'll have to look that one up. Okay, well, they actually captured hundreds of these Chars, and some of them were modified into the FH-18B2. Now, it is a limited numbers game, and I believe that there are bots in this game, quite a lot of bots actually, but JeffXandra put this game up along with some other games so we can actually have a bit of fun. As you can see, so far it's an even score. It's a tier 4 game with only tier 4 tanks in it, and in fact actually the thing about the Panzer Beast 5 is that it is a tank which actually has the ability only to see tier 4 tanks. The M5A1 is now one shot with only 14 hit points left. So if he does pop up again, he is going to be out the game as soon as we put a round into him. He's just been spotted again. I think that might be the other tanks, but if it is the M5, he's being very careful. Okay, we are going to take the risk and cut straight across. And the T-34 1941 wasn't ready, so we managed to get across the gap. The thing about this thing is that, like the B1, it didn't have much in the way of speed. 30 kilometers an hour is maximum speed, 10 in reverse. It was wasn't particularly heavy either. It was actually only... Oh, there's the M5. He's on the run. It's only 33 tons in total weight. And I think he's going to die to one of our teammates. Yes, he did. In fact, it was our M5 that took down their M5A1. Now, the actual, the gun on the top is a 47mm. In fact, it's the sort of gun which almost like a grenade when you're firing at it, the enemy. And the commander was also the gunner, and he sat in the top of the turret, and he could actually have a hatch, which means he could actually sit outside the tank and watch for enemy tanks. And then once he found one, he'd button up so that he didn't get shot with a machine gun. And then he would direct the crew to park the vehicle in such a way so they could get the 75mm gun to bear. This thing, of course, doesn't have that 75mm gun, so the commander is actually doing virtually all the work. He's finding the enemy, he's shooting the enemy, and his crew, well, they're just passing up the ammunition. So the DW2 did get a 5-centimeter shell into us, but we're actually putting lots of shots into the enemy, and now he's going to... Oh, he blocked that shot, but he didn't block the second one. Okay, the Type 95 really doesn't have an answer, even though he's actually got a 75mm gun. And we've got behind him, using our speed, and we're pumping rounds into him. And there you go, he's got his kill. That's his first kill of the game, actually. He's done a lot of work, though, if you think about it, because, of course, he did most of the damage to the M5A1. At close range, the DW2 is actually able to get a penetration, but he's also got a problem with turning his turrets, as you can see, and getting it to bear at close range. That's probably because he's in tunnel vision, he's in sniper mode, and now he's out of the game. You can see JeffXandra stayed out of sniper mode. He actually used third person because it was much easier for him to keep an eye on the enemy as he was driving around it. So the team are doing rather well because JeffXandra's now got 2 kills. The team's got 7, and there's only 2 enemies remaining, the T-34-1941 and an M8A1. And it looks like the T-34-1941 is losing a lot of health, and the M8A1's decided to go into the background and shoot from a distance. Now he's gone back to the standard AP because this thing can easily be penetrated with a standard AP round. The armor on the M8A1, or Scott as it's known, is actually very thin, and I think he is getting pens with these shots. Or is he? No, he's not. Oh, he is now. And again. And last one. Well, he didn't get the kill shot. That went to a Valentine 2, and there's only 1 enemy left. The T-34-1941 is being very resilient, but of course he does have better armor than the M8A1. And so we're closing in as fast as we dare, with only 2 kills, hoping that we can get a piece. No, we can't get a piece of him, and that is the end of the game. It's all over, and we won. Here's the end of battle results, and that was an ace tanker game for JeffXandra in the Panzer Beast 5. He managed to get a shell proof for blocking more damage, exceeding the hit points of his own vehicle and surviving the battle, as well as a Judas for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him, a fire for effect for doing more damage than the hit points of his own vehicle, and he also got a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 10 in that game. He also managed to get a high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game, and on top of that, he got the steel wall for blocking the most damage in that game, at least 11 hits and over 1,000 hit points of damage. And a lot of those shots that were blocked were sort of like 75mm rounds or 76mm rounds, and of course, as a result, he was accumulating a lot of block damage. 6,673 was the win 8, which is super unicum, and a lot more. Surprising the results you can get from a tier 4 game. Let's have a look at the team score. Well, there was only 3 real players on each team, and you can see that, yep, JeffXandra got 2,197 hit points of damage. Second highest went to the Valentine 2, who picked up 1,312. And the third highest, well, that's the DW2 on the enemy team with 776. When it came to kills, it was the Valentine 2 came out best. He got 3 kills, including that last shot. In fact, I think he got the shot on the M8A1. 2 kills went to JeffXandra, and nobody else got more than 1 kill. In fact, only the enemy team appeared here only to get 2 kills. I think that's right. And when it came to base XP, JeffXandra's on top with that one, because, of course, he did so much more damage than the others. 1,379 base experience points went to him, and 1,162 went to the Valentine 2, and they were the only 2 who managed to make it over 1,000 experience points in the game. He fired 66 rounds in the game, a lot of rounds, but again, it's only a 47mm gun, and of course, it does load very quickly. As I said, the shells are actually more like the size of grenades, and so you just shove them into the breach, and in fact, the shells are lined up in racks all around the turret of the tank, and basically the commander just quickly automatically almost load the gun just by passing one shell, shoving it into the breech, and picking another one and shoving that in. And it's just one shell after the other. The reload time is very, very quick indeed. On the B2, it's actually 2.17 seconds, but on his tank, it's probably below 2 seconds. So it's a bit like the pop gun or the 2-pounder on the Matilda, in that you can load very, very quickly. He did 2,197 hit points of damage. I didn't actually mention, he did 57 direct hits on the enemy, but only 42 of those actually penned, because of course he was using premium ammo as well. 2,197 hit points of damage, of which 265 were at more than 300 meters. He received 20 hits from the enemy, of which 9 penetrated and 10 non-penetrations. 1 hit by way of splash damage as well. Somebody decided to fire HE at him, and of course, even that really wouldn't do much damage because the armor's so strong. 720 hit points of damage blocked by armor. That's under 1,000 hit points. So I'm not sure if he did actually qualify for the rules for the steel wall, but well, he did get the medal, so I suppose it does count. He also spotted 1 enemy vehicle, damaged 5 of the enemy, killed 2 of them, and he earned 62,399 credits profit from that game, including 50,000 for mission completion. And yes, the ammo cost was rather high. He also picked up 5,172 experience points out of that game as well, because of course it's a premium tank. You do get a bonus for it being premium. So that's the end of the first battle. Let's have a look at the second one. In the second battle, you can see that JeffXandra has now switched to the B1, the French tier for non-premium, because of course it's standard tech tree tank, but it's in the collector's bin, I think. So if you want to get one, you have to go there. And you can see he's got the 75mm gun, but I'm afraid it's not working in the game, which is a pity, because it really should be. If it was working, it would be very interesting seeing you park the vehicle up, switch between the different guns, and then blast the enemy tanks with that 75mm. I know at the Battle of Stone, the famous battle where this tank was actually used to good effect, it actually was the 75mm that mainly destroyed most of the German tanks. Because of course at close range, that 75mm was absolutely lethal. Now you can see Jeff has actually decided to travel right the way down to the southwest corner again, just as he did the last time. Will he treat this battle any different? He's still got the 47mm gun, 60 alpha, 80mm of pen with standard ammo, and with the premium rounds 120mm of pen. If you remember in the previous game, it's actually 52 alpha and 55mm of pen, so slightly less penetration with the German ones. Well, that 14 TP is about to get a lot of damage. He auto-aimed on, and in fact he's using the auto-aim. Yeah, he's decided to stay behind the rock because he doesn't want to take on 2 at the same time. That'd be quite dangerous. Switches to the Panzer III Aslains, and now he's got help. So of course now 2 on 2, it's much better for him to go in, because of course then at least they've got somebody else distracting them. And oh, he's managed to flip himself, the M5 Stuart. Oh, so clever. Well, I'm afraid he is definitely going to be a dead duck. Well, we took it around from the Panzer III, and the M5 apparently has righted himself, so he's back in the game, but it's not going to help him much. The 14 TP goes down, he's taken out, so that's our first kill. He auto-aims onto a lot of these enemy tanks and just drives around pressing the fire button. At this sort of tier, it's perfectly possible. Switches to the Panzer III and gets that one too. So 3 kills now for JeffXandra. Again, it's a reduced numbers game. and there are bots in the game, but less bots than there were in the previous one. Now, there is a tank just around the corner, an SAU-40. Now, yes, he is dangerous. He does have quite a high caliber gun, and so therefore he does need to angle. And yeah, even angling doesn't help, but look at that big bulbous weak spot. The view turret on top, the cupola on top, because of course that is very, very weak. And with the help of his teammates, he's going to engage this guy and try and take him out. In fact, the SAU is now a dead duck. Yep, he's gone. So we've got a T-40 now, and he's looking directly at us. In fact, yes, he's taking nice damage, but he does, if he's got the right gun, he is very deadly. Of course, you can get that tank destroyer with a howitzer instead of the main gun, although the main gun's more accurate, it's point and shoot. But from this angle, he's not going to be able to get shots at us. The howitzer, of course, can launch shells over the top, almost shooting you like an Arty. Well, we seem to be doing rather well so far, but he's got 3 kills, but we're losing as a team. We're 1 down on the enemy. And there's the, T-40's down. So that's 4 kills now. He could actually get a Top Gun in this game. Now, most of the enemy are actually down in the south. A Sav M43 has been spotted. And so we're going up to deal with him first. He came back to defend his cap area. JeffXandra is more concerned about these guys to the south. In fact, with good reason, because, yeah, they are nearer to our cap. Now, that Sav M43 is also a very dangerous tank destroyer. Oh, thank you very much. That we didn't need. Our teammate just drove directly in front of us, and now we've lost the chance of getting a high caliber. Even if we were to get the highest damage in the game, we would be disqualified for actually shooting at one of our teammates. Well, that guy's a gunner as well, but it's not us who gets the kill, it's the P2640. So there's only 3 left on either team, but the Sav M43 does now have a good shot at us and failed. And he's out the game. JeffXandra now has 5 kills, so he's 1 short of getting a Top Gun. Unfortunately, the 2 other teammates are alongside him, so if we do go around the corner and we've got to deal with a Lux, which might have the 13mm cannon, which is also very deadly for us. 1 penetration shot. He doesn't have much armor, and it looks like he is trying to run away. Very slow getting up this hill. 30 kilometers an hour top speed again. And the Lux is trying to fight. And oh, we just lost the kill to a T80 bot. Yes, the bot got the Lux instead of us, which means now there's only 1 enemy left, and that's the P2640. As far as we know, in fact, he's not down in the south, he's right in front of us, and he is firing rounds at us, and he did get a pen, and he's using heat ammo to get the pens, and he does kill us. And gets killed by our P2640 instead. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was an ace tanker game for JeffXandra in the B1. He managed to get a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. He ended up with 5 actually, 1 short of getting a Top Gun, and was denied by one of his own teammates, or in fact one of his own bots on his team. He also got a duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him, fire for effect for doing more damage to the hit points for his own vehicle, and a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 11 in this game. He also got a win rate of 16,996, which is super unicum and quite a bit more, in fact a lot more, but sadly no high caliber, and you'll see why in a second. His damage was actually 2,661 hit points, and that was the highest in the game, but because his teammate in the P2640 drove in front of him just as he fired, he was disqualified from getting that high caliber. And in fact, the P2640 picked up the high caliber with a lesser damage of 1,148. So not only did he jump in front, but he also actually stole a medal away from JeffXandra. He also picked up a Confederate, I should say, as well, hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. The third highest damage went to the T40 on the enemy team, 1,019 hit points. When it came to kills, JeffXandra got that with 5 kills, of course, just missed out on that top gun. 3 kills went to the P2640 on our team and also on the enemy team. And in third place, it was the T40 with only 2 kills. And when it came to base XP, there's only one player who managed to get over 1,000 base, and that was JeffXandra with 1,182. The P2640 got 697. And in third place, it turns out to be the T40 with 321. He fired 60 rounds out of that 47mm gun. Got 51 direct hits and 46 penetrations. So yes, it does help to use the premium ammo sometimes because you just can't get through otherwise. 2,661 hit points of damage, of which 52 were at more than 300 meters, and 14 hits received from the enemy, 9 of which penetrated, 5 non-penetrations, 180 hit points of damage blocked by armor. Of course, he got killed by P2640, who did have a 75mm gun, if I remember correctly. It's a 76. No, I think it is a 75mm. And of course, yes, he was able to get a good pen. 2 enemy vehicles spotted, 9 enemy vehicles damaged, 5 killed, and he got 37 hit points of damage resistance in the game. On a premium count, he actually made 41,146 credits profit from the game. And he also picked up 1,773 experience points out of it as well. So yes, going old school with the B1 on Steppes proved that you can still win big with either the Panzerbeast or the B1. It's just the way you drive the tank around. And he was driving it correctly because I think some of those tanks were going to tunnel vision, to sniper mode, and they weren't able to watch what was actually going on around them. Whereas Jeff, he was using auto-aim to lock onto the enemy tanks and then driving in third person and then effectively positioning his vehicle in such ways that he didn't get penetrated. So that's the end of the second battle. Let's have a look at the third one. The third game is on the Lakeville map. There are bots in this game, but very few. And yes, we're still in the B1. No sign of the equipment, but I'm pretty sure that JeffXandra will share that with us. Okay, game on. Well, the B2 does have preferential matchmaking, but the B1 doesn't. And yes, you can see it's a tier 4 game with only tier 4 tanks in it. And he's decided to go up the valley rather than go through the town. Well, this tank is rather slow, and therefore if we did decide to go through the town, it would take us forever to get to the other side. But I'm pretty sure that he's going to meet a lot of enemy, because a lot of junior players or people who are actually still just learning the game will probably try to go down the valley, which is not the best thing to do in this game. Especially if you are, if there's Arty involved. In this game there is no Arty, but he does have a T6 medium on his team. Okay, pumps around into the BT7. Easily penetrated BT7, very thin armor. That's why it was fast, because it didn't carry a lot of weight. Oh, we've got a Keyhoe as well. And he's now looking in our direction. Puts one in the tracks. And he managed to get a pen on us. But he's now one shot for us. The BT is still pumping rounds in. And he's getting pens, funnily enough, as well. Okay, we're going to have to push forward because they're hiding. And the M18-1 makes a dash for it. And that gives the BT another chance to pump around into us. But the BT is now definitely a one-shot for us. Seeing that Kehoe get to another position. I think they've decided if they spread out, it makes it more difficult for us to take them on. Well, the M8A1 has just died. I think if we push forward, we might be able to get shots on them. Oh, that one bounced off the Lux. So the Lux does have very thin armor again. But he managed to get around through us. Of course, if he had the 30mm gun, it'd be dead easy for him to penetrate us. And we're trying... Oh, and the T6 medium's now pushing us forward. So we've got the kill on the BT7. That's our first kill. There's the Lux, and we are being pushed in the rear by the T6, which is not helpful when we're trying to get shots but avoid getting killed. Yes, that T6 medium needs to learn manners. Easy pens now. We've auto-aimed on. Even at the speed of the Lux. Oh, he got fire and he killed him. I'm not sure if that's an arsonist or if it's an actual shot kill. It might actually be a shot kill. Well, we've got two enemy tanks here. A Hetzer, who promptly dies to our T28, and that's a good thing because that guy definitely has the 105mm gun, as you can see there. So he could have done a lot of damage to us. 450 hit points of damage if he'd actually managed to get a shot on us. He was at 410. Yes, so good job that the Hetzer was taken down by the T28. Well, there's only two enemy tanks left. We've got 2 kills, but I don't think our teammates are going to sit around and wait for the enemy to come back. It's a T28 and a Strodny Biz 39, and although we can see where the Strodny is, I don't think we're going to be able to chase him over to the other side of the map because we're not very fast. 30 kilometers now maximum speed. And so I think we're just going to cap out, 3 in the cap, get back into another game very, very quickly. No sign of the enemy so far. And this is definitely going to cap out. There's no way that they're going to chase. And that's it. The game's over. It's a cap out to win. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was yet another ace tanker for JeffXandra in the B1. He managed to get a fire for effect for doing more damage than the hit points of his own vehicle, Julius for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him, Bruiser Medal for getting at least 5 critical hits in this game. He managed to get 7, and he got a Hand of God for surviving the battle, having received damage from at least 4 different enemy tanks. In this one, yes, he did get shot by a lot of enemy tanks. But he also managed to pick up the high caliber because this time round he didn't have a twerp of a teammate jumping in front of him to block his shot and thereby end up disqualifying him from getting the high caliber. His win rate was 6,613 in this one. Another Super Unicum game. Let's have a look at team score. Well, the high damage this time wasn't quite as high. It's only 1,604 hit points. Second highest was, in fact, the Hetzer, who managed 899 with that big 105mm gun. And the third highest damage was a Panzer IV D, Aslains D, who managed 618 hit points of damage. When it came to kills, it was the T6. He managed to get in the way, not only shoved us in the rear and pushed us out in front of the enemy, he got 3 kills by kill stealing. 2 kills went to JeffXandra and also to the Panzer IV Aslains D. And when it came to base XP, JeffXandra got that one back. So he got 2 out of 3 at least. 861 went to JeffXandra, 523 went to the T6 medium, 342 went to the T28 on his team. He fired 38 rounds, got 28 direct hits on the enemy and 26 penetrations. He was getting much more luck with this game. 1,604 hit points of damage, all of which is at close range. 21 hits received from the enemy, only 8 of which actually penetrated, 13 non-penetrations, 225 hit points of damage blocked by armor. 1 enemy vehicle spotted, 5 enemy vehicles damaged, 2 killed, and 112 hit points of damage assist, spotting assist actually, I think, in this game. He also got 35 capture points while he was sitting in the cab. On a premium count, he actually made 27,852 credits from this game and 1,291 experience points. Again, another fast game, another game with bots, reduced numbers, but still fun all the same. And you can see that the B1 or the Panzer B Spy is actually quite a devastatingly heavy tank. And of course, it's very, very tough indeed, but it can be defeated if you know where to aim. And it's really around these driver ports that it is very vulnerable. So if you aim for the driver port, you can take the thing down fairly easily because the armor isn't very strong around there. Or you can aim for the sides of the vehicle and try and pump the shells in through that vent towards the rear of the vehicle. That's actually how they used to take down the real B1s, because of course the armor there was very weak, and if they punched around through the vent, it would go into the engine, and then of course would immobilize the vehicle, and you get an immobility kill. Hope you enjoyed both 3 replays. If you did, please give this video a like, and thank you for watching.